All right. All right.
Okay, good
So,
morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited for this YVI episode with Alexis Roach. And I'm just so excited for her to not only tell you about how and why she got into the veterinary field and becoming a student, but there's a lot of other things that she's done, and she's got some major accomplishments for her young age. And so, Alexis, I'm just going to let you take it from here. Let me
all
get my
right. Thank you,
spotlights.
Ms. Sharita. I definitely appreciate it. And it's so great to be here. I'm super excited. One thing I definitely love doing is speaking and getting more people, especially more people of color, into veterinary medicine. Um, but just to start off with me, I will be presenting on laboratory animal medicine and kind of just that version of specialty in vet med.
Mhm.
It'll let me advance. Let's see. There we go. So I always tell people, anytime you want to stop me in the middle of my presentation to ask questions, please do so. I will answer them as I go. I can answer them at the end, whichever is more comfortable for everybody.
Okay, okay. Well,
All right.
let me just say at the beginning of what you're doing that I'm so glad that you're covering this, because I even had someone to say, well, I just don't like the idea of of animals being in a laboratory and they're just abusing them. So you're going to clear that up today. And I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just like you, I had that same perception, about veterinary medicine and lab animal. It was like, like, why are we using animals for research? Like, that defeats the purpose of why we're using, like, why we take care of animals. But,
Uh-huh.
I'll, get into that. But kind of just starting off with my timeline. Originally, I was born and raised in Delaware. Lived there for a few years. While I was in Delaware, I did a lot of cheerleading. That was like my favorite sport in the entire world. And yes, cheerleading is a sport. I played soccer. I worked. I used to be a server. My very first job was working at McDonald's. So, you always kind of start at the ground and work your way up.
Uh-huh.
um, I had pets. My high school that I went to, Dover High School, we actually had a animal science pathway at my, high school. And for 4 years, I took that as a career choice, kind of. And through that, I actually got to watch animals that my professors or that my teachers had. I had two rabbits of my own that I had raised that my grandfather had gave me. I did some volunteer work through my animal science program and also just kind of going to the ASPCA myself because I knew I loved animals. So I was like, if I really want to work with animals, I need to kind of get my hands in there and work with them. So I did a lot of volunteer work and just owning pets. I also have a cousin, Dr. David Wellington, who works over in New Jersey. He has his own practice. Sometimes I would go there with my dad and we would kind of just hang out with him and kind of see what kind of stuff he did as a veterinarian because, why not go see a family member that also is a veterinarian? So that's what I did growing up in Delaware. Um, After I graduated from high school, I decided I wanted to go to North Carolina A&T State University. Biggest reason why they had an animal science program. And I was like, so ready to get out of Delaware, so ready to kind of travel and find a world outside of what I was used to. So went to A&T. As a student, I was there. I did almost everything. Every time people ask me, oh, what did you do in college to get you vet school? I did it all, literally did everything. So I was a cheerleader at one point. I also was a coach. I did a lot of extracurriculars. So I joined the pre-veterinary club at A&T. I was also an RA at one point. I did research over at Virginia, Maryland's College of Veterinary Medicine. I also was still working. I worked for a few clinics here and there. I also worked for a vaccine clinic for animals. I did a lot of traveling. I studied abroad. Here's a picture of me when I was in Paris. Also,
Yay, Paris!
yes, absolutely love it. I want to go back so bad. Um, Also got to go to Disney World. Well, I think it was Disneyland, I should say, in Paris. So that was also
Mhm.
super duper fun. This was also one of my professors so when I was in Cyprus, I went to Cyprus when I went to go traveling, and they had a university that had an agriculture and animal science program. So I got to learn about agriculture and animal science while I was abroad. And this was one of my professors that taught some of my classes. He always took us every time we came from the farm or every time we came from class, he would take us to go get ice cream and all types of sweets. He was just such a loving guy. And then this was his son, who also had a small animal clinic. So we got to go over there for a day and kind of see what they do as veterinarians in Europe. So yeah, a lot of fun things, very heavily involved. And then I also got the opportunity to serve in a national position through the American Pre-Veterinary Medical Association. And this is a picture of me when I served on the e-board. And I feel like that's one of the one things that kind of pushed me into getting into the schools that I applied to when I went to vet school. So after college, I applied to all of these vet schools, finished up with all of my applications. And then from there, I ended up going to NC State. So currently I'm in veterinary school, as most of you probably already know. Um, so while in vet school, I have been having the time of my life. It has been super stressful, but also super fun and super involved. So here I worked with, we have our farm unit at NC State, and there we have our pigs, we have horses, we have cows, beef, and dairy. We also have chickens, so all sorts of animals. NC State is also very heavy on working with zoo animals and kind of like wildlife. So we do have wolves, which usually I can't tell people, but they are trying to get more people to know that there are wolves at NC State that we take care of. We also have, our small animals like our guinea pigs and our rodents, our rats, our rabbits. We also have snakes. We also had some frogs that we also get to hang out with. So lots of hands-on learning in veterinary school. So it's kind of like all of the things that you've been learning about, you've heard about, all of that is finally being applied once you get to vet school. I also had an opportunity back in December before COVID happened. I actually got to travel to another area called Nicaragua, which is a Hispanic country within Latin America. So there I got to do some spays and neuters. And then this is me doing some surgeries on one of the dogs. And, with that opportunity, I actually got to become a surgeon and apply all of the things I learned in vet school to this actual opportunity. I've also gotten to do a lot of other internships. I've worked for other medical hospitals. I've also got to do some research. This past summer, I actually got to do some research with some monkeys, which was going to be my biggest topic of talking about today. And before getting into vet school, I knew I wanted to be a lab animal veterinarian. However, when I got into vet school, that's when I actually have been more involved in it to actually understand that I definitely wanted to do this career. And doing these internships and this research has definitely solidified and made sure I knew that I wanted to be a lab animal veterinarian. Um, so timeline still
Can I
going. Yes,
question before you move forward? How
yeah.
long were you in Nicaragua?
That was a week program. So I got to spend an entire week in Nicaragua doing
Okay.
spays and neuters. And then I know we took one day out to go to one of the villages nearby with just families. And people literally just crowd around us with a bunch of their animals. People brought their horses, their ponies. Some people brought their dogs, their cats, and we just gave vaccines, dewormed, and gave some medication and some medical advice to everybody that came out.
Good. Okay.
Yes, very great opportunity. I always highly suggest people travel abroad if they can, if they have the opportunity to.
That
Definitely.
is so
So
wonderful.
with them bringing that at that time, that means that there's a shortage of vets right there, or maybe they couldn't afford it otherwise, or what would
Yeah.
you summarize that to be?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting you asked that because so definitely Nicaragua is one of the places that are, like third world country, not a lot of resources. Like I know when we went down there, we had to bring some of the resources that we had with us to kind of
Mhm.
help the veterinarians there. So yes, definitely a shortage of veterinarians, definitely a shortage of resources. And overall, like the whole experience was eye-opening just because not one time, and I tell people this all the time, not once did I see anybody open up a wallet or take out any money. All of the services that we did were for free for all of the
Wow.
people that came, because people can't afford it. The
Right.
veterinarian we were working with during this opportunity, I mean, all the spays and neuters we did were on animals that they randomly found in the the waste areas, so like where they send out all the waste, the garbage and stuff. Like some of these animals were really
Uh-huh.
beaten up bad. People that randomly had pets that were injured, like we saw some injured pets. I think one dog came in and had like a large tumor, and one of my uh, colleagues actually got to remove that mass. And
Uh-huh.
it was, people didn't have the money to get all these things done, but we did it anyways because we were able to provide
Right.
it and help out.
Right.
Yeah, great opportunity. Definitely highly suggest anybody that gets opportunity to travel to do things like that. Makes you almost feel very appreciated too, that, here in America, we have resources, we have money, we have people that want to take care of our animals, and it's enough of them if there is, in abundance in certain areas. But
We
yes,
need them back
so
here in rural America.
yes. Yes, and more places to do free services, that would also be great.
Right.
So
Right.
yes, so I guess
Thank you.
following NC State and leaving vet school, after getting my degree, I'll be becoming a veterinarian. And
Mhm.
so what a veterinarian is, and I think majority of people on this call will know, but and people watching, but what a veterinarian basically is somebody that's a doctor for the animal world. We help maintain the quality of life of these animals, alleviate pain and distress and suffering of these animals. And how
Mhm.
we do this is we diagnose conditions, diseases, we give vaccines and preventative care, just like with humans. And, when we're all babies, we all get those vaccines. And, as we grow older, we get all of these preventative medicines that we need to survive. We prescribe medications, we educate and communicate with pet owners. We also conduct research. And we all do it because we're really passionate and we really care about our patients. Um, so, it's like just being a regular human doctor, except our patients are now dogs, cats, horses, guinea pigs, gerbils, sea turtles, you name it. So,
Alexis, I have a question, another.
yeah,
Um, how many children are in your family? And you'll see why I'm asking this.
it's only me.
Just you. Okay,
Just
the reason I was asking because a lot of times when there's more brothers and sisters, like how you gravitated to animals, wanted to go with your dad to see more animals. A lot of kids don't realize that when they're young, sometimes their other brothers and sisters might want to be outside or doing other things. But what I'm pointing out is if they are attracted to animals, if they, already have a hamster, want to see other animals, I want them to consider that they may be that next veterinarian when they're growing up,
okay. Yeah,
because of their natural passion for animals. And the reason why I asked about brothers and sisters, sometimes if you just see that you're different than your other brothers and sisters, you're demonstrating a passion even more so that your other brothers and sisters don't have. So that might show you that that's the direction that your passion is leading you to. So that's
no,
why
yeah,
I asked.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I did not grow up with any siblings. I did have god sisters and god brothers that, would definitely come by and hang out with me and play with me. But yeah, I grew up on my own and, kind of just growing up with my parents. But my dad, he was always pushing me to be involved with as much as I can because he's involved with a lot as well. Um,
Yeah.
so
Okay. Okay.
but with me not having
Well, thank
siblings, that kind of gave me the advantage to help other people that may have siblings that may,
Mhm.
like little kids that just want to be what I want to be, like that. Knowing that I don't have any siblings, that kind of pushes me forward to wanting to help other people's kids or other people's siblings to be what I'm
Ah,
currently am.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank
But oh, go ahead.
I just said thank you
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
for
But that's a great question because people really should, well, people will ask me that and they're like, oh, you're an only child? You don't seem like an only child. And I'm like, I don't know what an only child's supposed to be, but that's a good question though. I like that question. Um, so yeah, so outside of laboratory animal medicine or just being a regular veterinarian, it's so many other careers. I mean, the abundance of careers in lab animal or just veterinary medicine in general is amazing to me. Some people just make up their own career sometimes. I just recently met a veterinarian who works for Delta Airlines, and she actually sees animals that are going in cargo and actually traveling with their families. So that was actually a
okay.
career she kind of started with Delta Airlines. My cat also wants to join this talk, so he'll probably be talking a little bit today. Um,
Who is that?
this is Milo. Come here. He's Milo.
Hi,
Ah,
Milo.
wow. Yeah, Cat. Eartha Cat was just in my lap. I had to put her down. She was trying to get up in
Yeah,
the camera. How
yes.
old is Milo?
Oh, how old are you now? You're 4? I think he's 4, somewhere around there. Not too
He's
old, not too
beautiful.
young anymore.
Yeah,
Okay.
beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the careers in veterinary medicine is amazing. I mean, from being a radiologist, like in this picture, you can do radiographs, x-rays, ultrasounds, CTs, MRIs.
Mhm.
Here are, and don't know how familiar people are with these two, but these are two veterinarians who actually started a TV show on, I think National Geographic, I think they're on. Can't remember the name of the
Uh-huh.
show, but
It's critter
two,
something, critter fixers or
yes,
something like that.
that one.
Ah,
They
okay.
work with all types of animals, exotics, regular small animal, dogs, cats. I mean, they see it all. Amazing, two amazing veterinarians.
Okay.
Another two veterinarians that also started a TV show. They also see all types of animals. I think theirs is called, can't remember now, I think it's Vet Life. Um, yeah, two other great veterinarians and, people that work with exotics or work with avians. You also have your horse veterinarians as well. And you also have veterinarians that work for companies and government agencies like USDA, APHIS.
Mhm.
I mean, the amount of careers is amazing. You have dermatologists, you have cardiologists, boarded surgeons. Veterinary medicine has so many different careers. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with my future in veterinary medicine, like I said, I definitely chose laboratory animal medicine. Um, and my reason for choosing laboratory animals medicine is the abundance of animals that I can also work with. Um,
Mhm.
Research is also super important. So as I grew up, when I was younger, I thought that research was like not a good thing. I was like, research, we do that on animals? That doesn't sound right.
Uh,
Like, are they mistreating these animals? Are they being mean
right.
to these animals? Are these animals receiving the right amount of pain medications that they need after these procedures that they're getting done? But as I got
Mhm.
older and I started diving more into veterinary medicine and research, I started to understand that, oh, wow, there's actually a career in this field. And within
Mhm.
this career, these veterinarians are making sure that the quality and life of these research animals are being met. I apologize. My cat is meowing because he wants to get out. Give me 1 second.
Wait. Okay. Well, you see, mine is getting up in the camera. She
We
was,
can't see
I
you,
don't know.
Sharita.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I was
why
like,
she likes getting, I don't know why she likes getting on my keyboard.
oh no.
It's great.
But yeah, so research, learning about research and how animals are, being utilized in it, it was kind of concerning. But as I got older, I was like, okay, there's actually people that are overseeing this. And these are people that I trust because I'm also going to this field and I also expect people to
Uh-huh,
trust me.
uh-huh.
So, other things that I've also been interested in is reproduction medicine, dentistry, radiology, all of those things. Um, so yeah, that's, looking at my future. And
Mhm.
another thing on top of doing laboratory animal medicine is working with monkeys. And I was going to ask some
Mhm.
people if they knew these type of monkeys that I'm going to bring up. But if people want to participate, wanted to see if anybody knew what kind of monkey this one was.
I don't, but yeah, I
This
just
one is it's a
look at that one.
African green monkey, or also called a vervet. And these are actually monkeys that
Okay.
I got to work with over the summer. Very cute monkeys. They're pretty small. Like you can kind of hold them like little babies a little bit. They're really, really, really cute. Um,
Are
sure,
they
a lot of
fun to work with? Because automatically when you see monkeys, you smile and we think monkeys would be fun. Are they fun to work with?
I think so. In my opinion, I think they are amazing to work with. Honestly, that was my like actual this summer when I worked with them. That was like actually my first time touching and really being face to face with a monkey. And when I tell
Uh-huh.
people, it was like love at first sight for me. I was like, wow, like, oh my gosh, it's a monkey. Like, I love you guys. You guys are so cute. Like, oh, and then it was like, I actually got to, so every Monday and Thursday when I was doing my research internship, I got to spend time with baby monkeys, and we got to do infant checks. So as I was, we were working with the moms, I also got to hold the babies, and oh my gosh, they squealed and cried, but it was like I literally would have one just sitting right on top of my arm, and it was, I think, the cutest thing in the world. So that's why I smile so much when I talk about monkeys. I absolutely love them.
I want
Um,
to just throw in there that the African green monkeys, we talked about African green monkeys with Maria Jose, um, when she was with us from the University of St. Kitts, and these monkeys are overrunning St. Kitts. So
oh,
yeah, so you might want to, we'll connect you with her.
oh yes, please do. I would love to. And I mean, yeah, they have a veterinary school over in St. Kitts.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Maria Jose is a professor at,
oh, she's a professor.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice. Yes, no, definitely. I would love to be connected. That would be great.
okay.
I love, and they were, oh, I love the African green monkeys. They are so cute. They're so, so
Yeah.
cute. So yeah, then you got your gorilla, of course. This one here is a macaque, a rhesus macaque.
Ooh, how
And then there's
cute.
also other macaques. These ones kind of are a little bit bigger. This one's a baby, of course, but there's also, they're a little bit bigger compared to the African green monkeys. Now, I didn't get to work with them, but I did get to see some of the research projects that they were in. And they are pretty big. I was a little, I want to say intimidated, but slightly intimidated with the size of those, but they were also pretty, pretty cute. This one, of course, is a baboon. Didn't get to see some of them during my research, but they can also be quite big. And these ones over here are the tamarins. Very cute monkeys. They actually come in all variety of colors. But this one I think is particularly cute. Not a really big fan of orange, but I think this is a pretty cute monkey.
I used to work with those myself when
Oh,
when I
really?
was in undergrad. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah,
huge colonies of those.
I actually just learned about them recently, and they are they are they are known for having really screeching loud noises, I think, when they scream,
Hmm.
is what I heard. Haven't worked with them per se, but I've heard that they can have a very loud screech.
They
So
can be very loud. Yes.
so you definitely got to wear your protective ear muzzles with them for sure. when you work with them closely. So yeah, so laboratory animal medicine. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's an awesome career. But basically what laboratory animal medicine is just a veterinary specialty focus that focuses on animal welfare and the refinement of research animal care. So with lab animal veterinarians, you can find them just about anywhere. You can find them at academic institutions. You can find them at industries. You can find them at pharmaceutical companies, government agencies, and you can also see them with animal suppliers like Charles Rivers. Um, they're very highly regulated, as very highly regulated career. So when you learn about lab animal medicine, there you learn about all the different laws and regulations that go into play. And of course, these are important because, you know, we have veterinarians that are overseeing the animals, but who is also overseeing the research being conducted and who is making sure that the research being done is being done properly and humanely. Um, so places like USDA, the Public Health Service, and the Office of Lab Animal Welfare, like a lot of these government agencies and regulators, they have came into play because, you know, people in the public had they were seeing what was being done badly to animals. And now they have to make sure that somebody oversees this research and make sure that the welfare of these animals are being put into consideration. So like I said, there's the lab animal veterinary medicine field is a boarded veterinary, it has boarded veterinary care. And we manage these animals, and potentially some of these veterinarians also do their own research on top of that.
So Alexis, can you just talk about what boarded means?
Yeah, so boarding, so after you finish, so for me, after I finished veterinary school, what I end up doing after finishing is that I will go into residency. And what residency is if you decide that you want to specialize in a specific field of veterinary medicine or even medical medicine, or just human medicine, I should say. Once you decide if you want to work in something as a specialty, you will either do an internship, go into residency, or you can go straight into residency. What that does is that residency program gives you years of experience that you need to be fully trained in that specialty. So say I want to be a cardiologist. If I want to do cardiology, I would have to do a residency that requires me to spend 2 to 3 years learning, all I need to know about the heart, how to do surgery on the heart, how to treat the heart, how to prevent diseases of the heart. Just really making sure that you focus on whatever it is that you want to do in that field. After you finish residency, what happens is that you become a boarded professional in that specialty. So you have to take a big exam afterwards, after you finish all of those years of school. And you basically, either you pass or you don't pass and you gotta retake it again. But if you do pass, what you become is a boarded veterinarian in that specialty.
Yeah, that's right. And there are boards for all specialties. I'm a boarded veterinary pathologist and toxicologist. My toxicology boards is actually just a general toxicology board for, but it's the same process. But I also want to say too, that even just to become a veterinarian, you have to take boards. So once you are finished with your vet school, you will have to take a board exam to get a license. And then you go on to do the internship or the residency and all the things that Alexa said.
Yeah, pretty intense process, but all worth the while once it's all finished out. Yes.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And it's after becoming boarded and getting all of these, licensors and exams and stuff done, you get all these letters behind your name, which a lot of people really enjoy having, is all types of letters behind their name. But it's great thing to have, just so that, if you want to just specifically practice in the specific thing that you're, interested in, it's a great way to just kind of have that focus for you. And which is why I love veterinary medicine. I mean, the types of things you can board in is amazing. I think it's really, really cool.
It's true. And it's also it's more lucrative. When you become a boarded specialist, you get to earn more.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. The money definitely increases once you become boarded. So yeah, so with lab animal medicine and then just research in general, you have all these different things that have come because of animals being used in research. And this is why I actually started having more appreciation for laboratory animal medicine. So things that people probably don't realize is that insulin, so when people have diabetes, they have to get insulin injections. So insulin was actually used on animals as an animal research test before actually being approved for humans. So basically, if it wasn't for animals, we wouldn't know how well insulin have worked. How does it work? And is this safe for people? Another thing people probably don't know is that Post-it notes and Band-Aids, so anything kind of with adhesive material on it, those were also used on animals in research. Another thing, toothpaste. I'm sure everybody uses toothpaste. That's a daily thing we should all be using. That was also had to been tested on animals at some point in time. Cosmetic products. I think a lot of people who do learn about animal research have heard like animals have been tested on lips, or lipstick has been tested on animals, and other things have been tested on animals like blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner. Rabbits were actually used pretty regularly for these cosmetic products at one point in time for research. So that's another thing.
Wait, you can't go past that. You're not talking about that they would put eyeliner or or mascara on rabbits.
Oh yes, they do.
Well, it's a very complicated subject, because I worked in the cosmetics industry as a veterinary pathologist for years, and it's a very complicated subject. And people are always talking about, well, this product has never been tested on animals. Well, that's because the final product may not have been tested, but the ingredients at some point have been.
Yeah. So then in laboratories, we have multiple Jessica Rabbits.
Yeah, to the extent, yes. So like Michelle said, it's like so they have to ensure that the things that they put in like mascara, eyeliner, all of those things, are they going to be, if they're safe for the animals, it'll definitely be safe for the humans that we use. So we got to make sure that these products that we combine, because sometimes, you can use one product, like it's even with science. When you use a product by itself or use a material by itself, it might be safe. It might be okay. But once you add all types of other things to it, it might be a disaster. So how are we ensuring that the products that we use in combination or together, how do we ensure that these products are going to be safe for people? That's when research started coming into play, and they started using animals to kind of see, well, if an animal is injured by this, then we know a human will be. So we probably shouldn't put this product out there.
So then, like for someone that's animal rights and they're protesting about using animals in laboratories, I mean, we almost can't get around that, right? I wear mascara, I wear eyeliner. I'm not on insulin, but the people I love are in need of insulin. So it has to, they've got to test it somewhere, right?
And even with using COVID, for example, when they started coming out with the COVID vaccine, they were reaching out to multiple people like, hey, we're trying to do a human trial. Can we potentially use you as a kind of like a dummy to see if we can, see how well this vaccine works. Many people were against it. They're like, no, I'm not going to be the first test for this vaccine. I'm not going to be used for this. You're not going to use me and use me in a research setting. So what they have had to resort to, or what they had to kind of start doing before they introduced this idea to people, is they had to use these in mice models. So mice, rats, other primates even. I've sat on a couple of conference calls and lectures where they are constantly using COVID vaccines and just the actual COVID virus in primates. So these, research is, vital. It's lab animal research is vital, especially if we don't have people that are going to be willing to actually test this out. We're going to have to use animals if we actually want things like vaccines, insulin, cosmetics to actually be out in the public. So that's how I started developing my appreciation for lab animals, and knowing what my position would be as a lab animal veterinarian is super important, because I have to ensure that the animals that are being used in research are being used being used properly. They're receiving the correct medications for pain that they need, that they're not being used for multiple experiments. So most animals, once they're being used for a project, most of the time, if it's not a very invasive or very, bad research project, they most likely might get used again, but majority of the time, once they're used once, they're usually done. That's just to ensure the safety of those animals. But yeah, the reasons why I chose to be in a field where I could be a voice for the animals. That's the biggest thing of a lab animal veterinarian, is being that voice. So yeah, like I said, vaccines, that's another reason why lab animal research is important. And another thing, some people use contact lenses. Those were also used in lab animal research.
Wow.
Yeah. Honestly, the list is so long. I probably could have did a whole presentation on just animals being used in research and what we have gotten out of it. But the lab animals that we do use, so really, honestly, every animal you can think of has probably been used in research. And to say, so with research doesn't always mean like we're in a lab and we're injecting all types of things in animals. Research can just be like studies of behavior. So even zoo animals, some zoo animals are being studied for behavior. What else? Behavior issues. Just kind of like looking at life itself. Like it's not always like laboratory things or being in a lab. Like people conduct, veterinarians and researchers conduct all type of research. It's amazing all the different research that has ever kind of came out, not even just for animals and humans, but just for life in general. So rodents is a big one. That's probably the biggest percent of lab animals that are actually used. So your mice, your rats, and your guinea pigs. Primates, so your monkeys. Fish are actually becoming super duper popular. Zebrafish, per se, are being used a lot in research.
Why zebrafish versus other fish?
They are actually supposedly real. So they do, fish in general, they populate pretty quickly, but zebrafish in general, they do actually populate a lot more. They're also just really good. So the anatomy of them are really, really good, supposedly, for using in research. I know one of my professors in vet school, she's an anesthesiologist, and she's actually doing some research currently with fish, and she's seeing how we can put fish to sleep using anesthesia. So I don't know, for whatever reason, zebrafish were like becoming super popular and everybody was using them for research. I know anatomy for sure. Behavioral wise, they're actually pretty good too, working with, and they do populate pretty well.
Okay.
So frogs are also used in research pretty heavily. Reptiles, so snakes and your lizards, marine animals, so fish again, dolphins. Dolphins are also used in research. I actually did a project on looking at dolphins, and they used to measure corticosteroids and looking at stress levels in animals. So looking at the level of corticoids that they release out of them once they're stressed, and how training and transportation to different aquatic areas kind of, just looking at how stressful they are in aquatics and being used at like SeaWorld or training sessions. Also food animals, so cows, chickens, pigs. Pigs are a big research animal as well. And horses. Horses are also used in research. And really just anything that you can get results from and kind of put out great research, those animals are being used.
Okay.
So why choose a career in lab animal medicine? Honestly, why not? One thing I love about it is that there's so many animals you can work with. Me particularly, I love primates. That's going to be probably my main focus going into lab animal. But I also like working with mice, rats. I love guinea pigs. Guinea pigs are super duper cute. I'm not a fan of horses, but horses will probably be another animal that I will need to get used to working with, because they are also used in research. I mean, the abundance of animals is amazing. You're not specific on one species.
If you have chickens, those are my roosters you constantly
Okay.
hear. Monique is used to them. She and I, all of our calls. I mean, I've got one that just comes and stands at the door. He wants to crawl inside the door when I'm inside. So that's what you're hearing. Now, you know what? Even thinking of mice or rats, I'm terrified of both. So I couldn't even imagine. But for you, that you're very comfortable working with them, are they loving animals? I mean, it just seems.
That's a good question. So if you do train, I wouldn't say mice per se. Rats can be very great pets, honestly. And I'm not being a biased person saying it. Like, rats are actually very good pets. If you are interested in a rodent and you need like opinions on what's the best rodent, I would definitely say a rat. A rat, they're super, super friendly. You can train them
Wow.
pretty well. I actually have a classmate. She has I think two or three rats. One of them passed away recently, but she trains her rats. We had to do one of our behavior classes. We had to do like a project on teaching our animals how to train, like training our animals to do something like a command that we wanted to come up with. And she actually did her training with her rats. And I can't remember exactly what she did with them, but oh my gosh, I was like, wow, I didn't know you could train rats so well. Like, they are great pets. I do think rats, but you have to train them pretty early, just like any animal. You have to start them off early if you want them to be a good rat. So getting a research rat that's been research for 2 years or 3 years, I wouldn't particularly say they're probably the best pet, but getting like a small rat at early age, I think they're ideal animals to have as pets.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yes, definitely like them. And another reason to do, so if you like doing research is another reason why you should do a lab animal career. I've met plenty of veterinarians that do lab animal medicine, but they don't do research. Or you have some that decide to just do research, but they don't really want to do lab animal medicine. Or you have some that wanted to do both. And you don't have to actually go and get a PhD. You can just be a veterinarian and just do your own research projects. So that's the beauty of lab animal medicine and research. And it's just overall a great.
Excuse me, but someone that's interested in research, they wouldn't have to be in school as long, but still could be
Mhm.
involved with the animals. That's what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. My my program director, when I went to go do research over at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, my program
Mhm.
director, she was actually just a regular veterinarian. She did get her master's in public health, but
Mm.
she only got her DVM and that MPH degree. And she does all types of research. I mean, the amount of projects that she has done, the amount of research papers she has gotten out of what she's done is spectacular. And she never went and got a PhD or a degree in research per se. She just got involved with lab animal medicine, working with primates, and now she does all types of research. It's great. It's really good. So yeah, and I mean the DVM or the veterinary degree speaks for itself. You know, it's people trust a veterinarian and their expertise in animals. So knowing that they do research also is kind of like, wow, that's really good. Like we know that you're going to do the right research and for the right reasons. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then another
You're not.
benefit, okay. And then another great benefit is you improve the animal and the human health aspects. So all of the research that gets done, a lot of the research that gets done, not only impacts animals, but it impacts human health, which is something that
Mm.
is important for this world. And overall, it's
Okay.
a great career. The work-life balance of lab animal medicine is amazing. Honestly, I haven't really met any lab animal veterinarian that does not enjoy their career. And all of them are
Mm.
pretty happy, and they're like, this is a great career. The money is great. I get to work with all types of animals. Majority of them don't, well, actually, all of them don't work with clients, so that's also, I guess, another benefit. Um,
Mhm.
and they feel like they are involved in something that's super important. So overall, it's a really great career.
Okay.
And then I always give advice because people always ask me, like, how do I get to vet school? How do I become what you are? How do I get to this point? So, big thing, always do your research. So, if you feel like you're interested in becoming a veterinarian or you're interested in doing something involving animals or doing research per se, do research, like figure out how do I get there. Find a mentor, find somebody that's going to help you and guide you. I tell people all the time, like, if your son, daughter, brother, sister, friend, whoever it is, if they want to do something in this field, give them my phone number, give them my email. I will talk to them whenever they need help. I'll read your essays. Like, find somebody that's going to support you as you're doing your own research and figuring out what works out for you.
Mhm.
Um, find something that you love and explore it. Don't be scared to take a leap of faith and figure out what works out for you. So doing volunteer, like I said, when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to work with animals. So that meant I needed to go to the ASPCA, work with animals, figure out what I like, go volunteer at an animal shelter, go volunteer at an animal clinic and see if I can help out and do things with them. Find internships, find externships. Internships, externships, kind of the same thing, but a little bit different in the time frame that you do it. So internships will be kind of like what you do in vet school, beginning of vet school, and externships are kind of like what you do during your clinical rotation, which is your very last
Mhm.
year of vet school.
Mhm.
And then kind of like the pay does differ a little bit. Some externships are actually starting to pay people. So, a little bit of differences, but they're pretty similar. It also doesn't matter when you do it, but it really matters how you're going to do it and, the path that you're going to take for it. So I love this picture. One of my professors told me about this, and basically your path to success is not going to be linear. It kind of might just be all
Mhm.
over the place. So whatever path I'm taking is not going to be the same as everybody else's path. It might just be a
Yeah.
little bit different. But at the end of the day, the result is what it is for you.
Yeah.
A great example of this, I have a classmate, she's 50 years old, and she's just now getting into vet school. And I think it's amazing. I actually had to sit down and talk with her. It's amazing the path that she took to finally get here. She applied to vet school multiple times. Me, it only took me once, but it took her multiple times. But she did not give up. She did not let the multiple no's become, her defeat. She said, I'm still going to try to go to vet school, and I'm still going to try to make this my career. And she finally made it. And in a year or so, we'll all become veterinarians. So that was her dream, and she's making it come true even at 50 years old. And that kind of just goes into my last point of no doesn't always equal never. You just might have to try again later until you finally succeed.
That's great advice.
All right.
That's great. Yeah.
And that concludes my presentation. And
I love
I
it.
know it's not many people on here, but I'm open to questions.
Love it. Love it.
Are there any questions? Well, all I can say is, Alexis, this was every time we have an episode with our special guests, I learn something new, and I really appreciate also the relaxed nature that you present, because even for those that will hear it later, you're very good about providing the information, what you do, and how you've gone the path that you've gone, but it doesn't sound intimidating. It doesn't sound scary for those that may be thinking about it. So I appreciate that about you.
Oh, thank you.
Now, me, see, I love animals, but I could never be a vet myself. I thought I would want to be, but I couldn't even dissect the frog. It was dead, but at school, I couldn't do it. I can't cut up chicken, but
Yeah.
so I have found another way to be around animals. And then plus Monique and I developing this program, because I know we need veterinarians. I'm just not the one that can do it. So this gives me that opportunity to be able to be around the animals, pet them, but leave it up to you guys to study them and understand them and make them well.
Yeah. No, veterinary medicine, it's a daunting career. It is a profession that you definitely have to know you're wanting to do and willing to do, because I mean, man, I have no regrets going into vet school, but I wish I did take heed of warning when people told me like it's really, really hard. Like I heard people say like, oh, it's hard, it's really tough. But until I got into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I see what everybody was talking about. I now know what everybody was trying to warn me. However, I think the gratitude, the fun I get out of it, all of the great things I get out of, working with these animals, doing all the fun things I do in vet school, overcome all of the hard things and the stress that I get. And it's going to be, I know it'll be rewarding at the end. It's kind of just taking those 4 years and waiting it out to get that reward. That's going to be so much, it's going to be worth it. I know it will be worth it. It just, it takes a lot of patience and time to get to that point.
Sharita,
So,
can we go back to the gallery view so we can see who's on the call? And the young woman who joined us early, if she would be willing, I'd love to have her just say who she, is it Marcus Woods?
Yeah, that's my friend.
and Alexis.
Alexis, stop your share.
I think
sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And let's see.
And we can get Alexis to say who she is and why she's joined us, where she's coming from.
Hi, my name's Brianna Jones. I'm actually a freshman in high school.
Okay.
And I go to Cesar Rodney High. And
where are you?
I'm at home right now.
No, I mean, what city?
I'm sorry. I'm in Delaware, Dover, Delaware.
Okay.
And I was thinking about being a vet, but like I really don't like seeing animals hurt. So I'm like, iffy about being a vet, but I really like animals. So that's something I would lean towards. But my family's really into medical, a lot of medical things. And like a lot of my families are doctors and nurses. So I was thinking about being a doctor or nurse, but going animal doctor. Yeah.
Very cool.
Good.
Well, you know, you can help the animals that are hurt. I know it's hard to see them hurt, but to help them get better is just so rewarding.
Yeah. And I really like, I had a couple of animals. I had a dog once, he passed away recently. And I want to get another animal, like I want to get a cat or something. And I kind of want to own a farm and get like chickens and goats and all that.
Oh.
It's really, my family said it's really expensive. And I was like, yeah. But I want to like.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was like, I want to breed.
You'll have to come visit us next summer. We're planning on having a summer camp for the YVI program. You have to come here and spend time with the animals.
Okay.
Very cool. And Marcus Woods, you want to come off mute and introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning and good afternoon. I'm just here for Alexis, a little support and stuff like that. She was a little nervous, so I told her I'll chime in a little bit, see what she's talking about, you know. And I've also followed her some of her success over in Winston-Salem monkeys. She just kept talking about the monkeys. Like, I feel if like something really serious happened in Winston, she'll still be talking about the monkeys instead of the real situation within that city. That's how much she just loved that internship and that opportunity. But, it's one of those things.
Okay,
It's here for her.
Well, thank you for joining us and for supporting Alexis, her fantastic presentation.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being on, and Monique and Alexis. Alexis, would you like, since we're right at the hour, would you like to say anything else before you go? And if you'd like for anyone to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, I think my presentation said it all, but definitely anybody that is interested in veterinary medicine, in lab animal medicine, or just life in general, I'm always here for anything. Best way to probably reach me is, and I don't know, Ms. Reed, I don't know if I gave you my email to share with anybody, but I can definitely text it to you. But great email for me.
You can put it in the chat.
Yeah, I think I could put that in the chat. Let's see.
And just for video purposes, because it's not too long, what can you say it, please?
Yeah, so it is it's AA and then Roach, my last name, at gmail.com.
But you have a 22 there.
Oh, and the 22, yes, forgot. I'm also, I got my school email as well, which is like the same thing without the 22 and then the NCSU. Okay. But yes, aaroach22 at gmail.com.
Okay. And we're using the numbers 22, not the word. So aaroach, ROACH 22 at gmail.com.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Well, Alexis,
like
I thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I do a lot of mentoring and helping students, even people that are applying to vet school. I also try to take time out to help people read essays and stuff. So anything I'm needed for, I'm always welcome to help.
Wonderful. I have to introduce you to Possibilities.
Yes, and whoever I need to speak to with the monkeys over at St. Kitts, I would like to speak to them too.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you guys, and I appreciate it.
Excellent. And thank you. Thank you for our guests that are on also. Alexis, I would love to have you on again, and I'm sure Monique would like that too. Everyone, please have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. wonderful weekend, and thank you for being on YVI.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Hello.